The
Boom. All right, we're recording.
Sick.
What's up, man?
What's up? How are you?
Good, man. I'm just trying to burn alive here in California right now. It's definitely pretty gnarly right now. So,
Yeah, yeah. I've caught wind of that
oh,
gnarliness.
dude, it was like 115 the other day here. I'm in Sacramento, and
Uh-huh.
it was like 115 here in Sac, and then now there's fires on either side of Sacramento. So it's just like it's nuts, man. I took a picture the other day, like just driving down the street, and it looked like it had some gnarly filter on it, but it was just the smoke. It wasn't
Wow.
even like, yeah, it was pretty crazy. So
It was just the hellscape,
yeah,
right?
yeah, like California is officially burning like all the time. So how's New York, man?
It's still definitely like very weird, I
Uh,
would say. Fortunately, I mean things have calmed down a bit in terms of like, COVID and the pandemic and everything. I think like last week we went like 2 or 3 days. It's still gone this way, but without anyone dying.
wow.
So that's always a plus.
Yeah.
Um,
You're in Brooklyn, you said?
Brooklyn, yeah, specifically Greenpoint,
I don't know.
which is like it's like the neighborhood just south of Queens.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so you go one more neighborhood and you're there.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't know. I've been listening to a lot of Biggie lately, so I just know a little bit about.
Oh, yeah, yeah. That's a little bit further south.
Oh, is
That's
it?
like yeah, it's like Bed-Stuy, that
Yeah,
region.
Bed-Stuy.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
so how like? I mean, I just see what's on the news and shit. But was it really like as bad as everybody was saying in New York?
I mean, it was very bad. It was. I mean, the thing is, like you're in lockdown, so you're not like witnessing it up front. It just feels a little kind of abstract from that standpoint, where you're basically just hearing about it the same way everyone else in the nation's hearing about it through the news.
Okay.
But anytime we would go out for like grab food or groceries and whatnot, it was just the streets. It was just completely deserted, like in the thick of it. It was just like a ghost town, which was pretty eerie. And like I actually biked into Manhattan one day just to get out and about, but it was like desolate, just deserted.
Yeah,
No one.
that's how I drove around Sac one day, and usually like by the Capitol, it's packed all the time, and it was like just nobody. It was crazy. So,
Yeah,
but
like I don't know. Have you seen that movie 28 Days Later, by any chance?
is that the Spike Lee one?
No, it's the
Oh,
it's like the zombie one. It's kind of like it was shot like maybe 15 years ago or something. But
no.
if you watch it, there's a scene where this character who's been in a coma comes out of his coma, and then in the midst of that, like this pandemic has descended on like the populace in England where he is,
Okay.
and he's like been out of it completely unaware. So he wakes up and he's just like walking through this cityscape, and but anyway, it felt like that. But
Oh, wow. Yeah,
it's a
is
good
that the one
flick.
where the zombies run?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It kicked that off, like the fast zombie
Yeah.
thing, or brought it back.
Dude, I'm not gonna lie, man. There was nights like where you're like, dude, I could wake up tomorrow and it could be even worse than it is right now. Like, what if this is like our Armageddon type situation, or like, what if it is like not zombies, but what if that is like something we just can't recover from, and now all of a sudden it's like The Walking Dead or some shit. So
It could happen to us.
it could, yeah. So, yeah, man. Thanks for taking the time out, dude. This was it's been cool. I was thinking about it earlier today, and I don't know the last time I saw you. I
Dude,
think I think it may have been when we drove cross country.
you know what? Okay, that time is amazing, but I think honestly, we can get into that. But I think honestly, like the last time I saw you was probably. I mean, and this is important for what we're going to discuss with like comics and publishing. But
Yeah.
I think the last time I saw you was like the release party for the first book that we published. When I think you wrote up with Rusty and Scott Lurs,
Yeah. Okay.
and we
Yeah.
all
So
hung out in Portland.
shit, dude, that was like 10 years ago,
Yeah.
11 years ago. That's
Yep.
when we all got
Yep.
tattoos. Me and
Yep.
Rusty and Scott all got matching tattoos.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a fun
Um,
trip, man. That was pretty wild. That was okay because I remember we stayed at your house
yep. Yeah.
and you had that
Exactly.
really cool Rollins painting. Somebody did a painting of Henry Rollins.
Oh yeah. Yeah. That's right. Yeah. That was I think it was my roommate Sam's. But yeah, you're right. Yeah. that
Yeah,
Henry Rollins one,
that
that
was
mock up with him.
that was
Yeah,
a really neat painting. I like that thing. So, yeah. So that was a Revival House release for that first book.
that was the first one.
Oh wow. Okay.
So that was extremely pivotal. Pivotal.
Okay.
Like yeah, because that was when because basically that publication is called Shippings on the Loose,
Yep. I still have that one.
second volume. Um,
That's the Rusty
for
one, right?
Rusty, he edited it.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I
Yeah,
have
so
that one.
it was like an anthology. It was just kind of cool. So basically, like Rusty went out and just it's our buddy Rusty. He went out and found like a bunch of a lot of artists he admired, even people he knew, and just asked them if they wanted to like contribute stories or just weird artwork to this anthology. And that was basically the first thing that went out under Revival House.
Mhm.
And he said like, yeah, I got this idea for a book, and he told me like the list of people involved, like the artists involved, and it sounded rad. And it was at this point where basically I wanted to start publishing for myself, because up to that I had worked with some other people, just kind of assisting with them. So it was when like I made the decision like, yeah, I'm going to do it for myself and start publishing. And it just was kind of like perfect timing where Rusty was ready to go with this book, and he went ahead and like had contacted the printer, got it printed, just collected all the artwork, put it together, and then I think drove up with Lures,
Yeah.
and then picked you up.
Yep.
And then that's when we met up in Portland.
Yeah.
And it was right for that the release party, basically.
Yeah, that was okay. Yeah, that does make sense. So, yeah, I was looking at your guys' website, and you've put out quite a few things.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, that was just like the tip of the iceberg with that. And then pretty much almost immediately, like 6 months later, like one of my best pals, this guy named Mike Bertino, who's awesome, also just like a really killer artist. He had something ready to go as well. This comic called Trigger, where it was kind of like a one-man anthology comic where it's like the comic is called Trigger, but there's 3 individual stories inside of it.
Oh, cool.
So he was pretty much ready to go with that, working on it. So it's just within like a year or so, I had done like 4 comics out of the gate. But yeah, I mean, since then, I've been doing it for a decade now, and yeah, I've published probably like 30 things.
Wow, that's awesome, man.
Yeah,
it was funny because I texted Rusty to get your information, or just your number, and then I was like, he's still doing the Rival House thing, right? And he goes, yeah, man, for like the last 10 years he's been doing it. I was like, oh, I don't these things, like, geez, man, relax. So yeah, no, that's rad, man. So so I was kind of doing the math today. I think I've known you I met you around like 2001.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah, I moved down to LA. I moved down to LA the Wednesday before, 2 days before 9/11.
Oh my God.
Yeah, that Friday I've known Rusty since high school, but I met like Scott Lurs and Holder and all those guys. And then like shortly after that, I met you and your crew. But then I don't really remember you being like a comic guy back then, though.
Yeah, I really wasn't, honestly. Like it was more or less something that I had read up until like, from being a kid up until high school. And then a little bit my freshman year of college, but it was just the sort of thing where, I don't know, I just took a break on it for a few years. But honestly, it was like when Rusty became more interested in it, and this friend of mine, Mike, who like we were living in different cities, but we kind of reconnected. And that's when I slowly started getting back into comics. But that was probably when I was in my like early to mid 20s is when I got back into it.
Yeah, and just they're not like superhero comics. They're more of like actual like,
yeah,
they're not your stereotypical comic. When someone says comic, they think of Batman or whatever, Marvel. But like the stuff I've seen is more kind of like story based. There's actual stories that are going along with it. There's animated.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's more, I would say it's more personal than your like run of the mill genre superhero type story. I think what's cool about it, and like with the books that I've published, but also like what I'm into as well, is just, yeah, it's just people like telling these really personal stories, drawing in ways that might seem kind of unconventional to people who are only familiar with like superhero mainstream type comics. It's more like what I'm into is more of like an extension of like the underground from like the late 60s and early 70s, because I'm sure you've heard, like, have you heard of that guy like Robert Crumb?
Oh, I have his book.
Oh, okay,
I've
yeah.
got
So it's
that
basically,
the little short fat one that has like a CD.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
I have
yeah.
that one. Yeah,
Oh, cool.
yeah.
So I mean, it's just like this. There was this period when like a bunch of artists in the like, late '60s, early '70s started just making like weird, insane stories that kind of like reflected their own personal lives and
Mhm.
how they were feeling, even like politically and whatnot. I mean, definitely a lot of it is like really hippie based everything, but I would say that kind of like sparked what I ended up getting into, and like the people that were inspired by them were
Mhm.
like the comics that I read, and then inspired me as far as like publishing and everything. But
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, I have that art crump. I've never really read it though. I flipped through it. I think I just was like a peer pressure thing to buy it. But
oh yeah, who
yeah,
peer pressured you?
probably Rusty. But do you think that like animation and comics and stuff like that's going to start making more of a comeback now that like kind of the world that we're in?
Yeah, I mean, I would say with comics, I would say comics in general are probably bigger than ever.
Yeah.
Um, I'm not sure. Maybe like someone could give me sales figures, and maybe like the sales of comics have, like specifically comic books, have gone down.
Mhm.
I'm not sure, but as far as like the impact of comics, like with movies nowadays, like I'd say every like huge major budget film that's being financed out of Hollywood is like in some way shaped by comics. It's not like weird to like that shit. It's not just, I wouldn't say it's like pure like nerd shit,
Yeah.
as it might have been like when I was in high school 20 years ago, where I felt like closeted as like a comic book reader.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like you weren't supposed to share that stuff that you're
Yeah, I mean you were just whack
yeah.
if you admitted you like that.
But yeah, no, that's true. Like all those Avengers movies, I think I've seen like one of them, and I've seen like a handful of like some of the comic book movies, but like I'm sure all of those brought in billions and billions and billions of dollars. Like I'm sure
Oh
that's
yeah.
up a lot of like these um, movie companies afloat, and so yeah, that's what's kind of filling all these things. But yeah, we have Disney Plus,
Uh-huh.
and there's like a whole
Mainline in it.
what's that?
You're mainlining it.
I am,
Disney
dude.
Plus.
I've just been shooting superheroes left and right. But yeah, no, there's a whole Marvel section, and it has
Yeah.
like everything. And it looks like there's some pretty cool documentaries. But I just haven't had time to check them out. But yeah, I think
Yeah.
like with like, the Avengers stuff, Iron Man,
Mhm.
then you have like the whole Walking Dead genre.
Yeah.
That's when everything just blew up in that like 3-year time period or whatever. And maybe
Oh
like
yeah.
8-9 years ago or whatever.
Yeah. That series is huge. It's massive.
Yeah, I read I got like a compilation of them, like the first I don't know how many issues it was, but it was a big thick book, like that big.
Mhm.
And I read them, and then I'm just to kind of see how true it was to the show, because I was really into that
Yeah.
show for a while, and now it's just terrible. Uh
I haven't kept up. I think I tapped out with the second season.
dude, it sucks, man. Like I think I tapped at like the fourth or fifth. And then like my wife kept watching it, and I was like, "What the fuck is this? This is stupid." And like she was
Who the
like,
fuck is Negan?
"Yeah, dude, that guy rules." Actually, that guy
Oh
was
yeah.
the only one that would catch my attention when she'd watch it. But yeah, she'd be like, "I don't know, it's just on." Like I follow it, so I watch it. I'm like, dude,
Right.
it was just bad. But
Yeah. I couldn't get past season 2 when it was just like unending on that farm. It
oh
was
yeah,
just
yeah.
so boring, man. So boring. But
Yeah,
anyway.
it's one of those shows too where you're like, oh, I'm surprised they killed that main character, but like
Yeah.
good too. Like they definitely have the balls to do stuff like that.
Yeah.
You know? So, but yeah, no, I'd say probably in the last like 8-9 years. That's when comics really kind of blew up again and stuff. I remember going to what's the big one in San Francisco that they do?
Oh yeah. Ape Alternative
Yeah,
Press Expo.
yeah,
Yeah.
I went to that when I lived in Oakland. Maybe were you with one of those with Rusty?
I don't think so. I think I might know which one you're talking about, but I think I was still I think I was living overseas actually
Oh,
when
okay.
that
Yeah,
one, because I just remember hearing about it from like Rusty, and then like the Mises, who I
yeah,
think worked with that as well with Tender Loving Empire. Like I
yeah.
think it was one of the first things they did.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Because I think they had a booth there, and this was probably like 12 years ago now at this point. But
Yeah.
those were rad, man. Like I didn't know anything that I did. Like I think I bought the Brian Posehn comic, like Heavy Metal
Oh,
or something like that. And then we saw Matt Groening from The Simpsons. He was there.
oh yeah, yeah,
He was just
yeah,
sitting at a table, and I was like, well, we're like, what the fuck? And nobody was there. It was just him sitting at a table by himself.
yeah,
And
yeah.
like he had just gotten there, and I was like, oh, we should go say what's up to him. And then we didn't. And then we ran into Kepi Ghoulie from the Groovy Ghoulies, that really weird punk band.
Yeah,
But,
yeah. I remember
yeah,
them.
he was there. So
They're like the lighthearted Cramps.
yeah, that's a good way of putting it. And they're from Sacramento, just like the Cramps are too. So I'll never forget, he was eating flaming hot Doritos and didn't have a drink. He was just eating it. There was no drink. He was just eating super hot chips. So but well, that's good, man. Yeah, it's awesome you've been doing that. Is there more stuff coming out, or is hopefully COVID hasn't affected you with?
Yeah, I mean, it definitely has to a certain degree. I mean, this comic or this graphic novel we were supposed to put out in the fall. It's basically this artist. His name's Onsis Purins. He's based out of Boston. He's been working on this comic with us for like 6 years.
Oh,
It's
wow.
like his like masterpiece, basically.
Yeah.
But it's called Super Magic Forest. Originally, it's supposed to come out in the fall, but yeah, just because of COVID
Yeah.
and everything, like we had to push it back to spring, basically. So now it's gonna be like a spring 2021 release and all that. But for like the near future, that's like the main one,
Mhm.
you know. But that's definitely put a damper on things in general. Like, you know, just create a lot of uncertainty with, you know, publishers, kind of like publishers who are in the same boat that I'm in, because you know, it's like I don't have like a ton of money to do this. It's more like I'm able to publish when I can, and hopefully like, you know, collect some money back to put out the next one. It's kind of that sort of scenario, but it's definitely impacted, you know, publishers along those lines. And even like the main distributor that handles like, you know, like the individual like pamphlet comics, like comic books, like Diamond, like they've like ceased for,
Oh,
you know,
wow.
near future. So it's definitely hit up. It's impacted like comic shops as well.
Yeah.
It's definitely impacted things. Absolutely.
Have you thought about just like releasing online?
Uh, I mean, that's, yeah, something I've thought of, but I don't know.
Not
I'm
the
just
same as
more
like
into,
holding a book.
yeah, I like the physical book, you know. I like print, you know, just the way things look on, you know, when they're printed out. And I mean, that's something else, is that like part of the reason why I'm only able to put out comics here and there is just because of the expenses tied in with like how I print. Because, you know, it's like I usually try to do it with offset printing, which is like a, you know, like a pretty legit way of like printing comics. So but it's kind of spendy at the same time.
Okay.
So just, you know, it's like you know, for me it's like quality over like quantity, basically.
Yeah, no, and that definitely, you know, the people that are interested in that stuff and are passionate about it, that's what they want too. You know, it's kind of like I didn't get like super into record collecting in the last couple of years, but I definitely have like explored it, and I have a pretty
Yeah,
big collection. And it's the
yeah,
same thing too, where it's like, oh, I could go buy it on Amazon, or I could go to the record store and talk to the guy about it, and he can, you know,
yeah,
give me a little bit more information, and you know,
yeah.
but
No, I mean, I prefer that too, you know, honestly. And then you might like, with like through your conversation with the record clerk or whatever, the guy working the counter, like, yeah, you might find out about something else, or he might point you in a different direction, as opposed to like just going on like Spotify, or, you know, and experiencing music just from the algorithm
yeah,
and whatnot. And then also Amazon, you know, you might just get a generic recommendation based on your previous purchases. But I don't know, there's just something about that human interactions as far as like going to the record shop and like,
yeah.
you know, having a conversation. And yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, dude. I growing up in the little town I did, Lodi, we had the comic Grapevine. And I remember going there, and I still can remember the smell of the place. It was all comics. It was all comics. And it was like, it just had this funk to it, man. And it
Hell
probably was
yeah.
just all that paper, you know, like whatever that stuff was printed on. And
BO probably
yeah,
in there.
BO, a lot of BO, and probably just like old food that hadn't been thrown away. And dude, honestly, I think it's moved locations a couple times, but I think it's still in Lodi. I
Wow.
think it's still there. So this place is going on. Like, I mean, I'm
Hell yeah.
38. So like, it probably came out when I was like maybe like 5, 6, 7, somewhere in there. So the dude's he's put his time in,
Hell
and it's
yeah.
stuff like that is definitely a passion
Hyper.
project, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. You gotta love it.
Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah,
Probably find some gems in there, Steve. Yeah.
maybe I'll take a trip down there
Yeah.
and see. But I don't remember really ever buying anything. If I did, I just bought it because it looked cool, like a
Yeah.
Punisher comic or something like that.
Yeah.
So, hey, one thing I did want to talk to you about, other than the Rival House and everything, was you got to see Johnny Cash live, right?
That's true.
Yeah.
True story.
And I think you said when you were telling me about it, you said it was right before that old son of a bitch fell down on stage.
Listen, rest in power, Johnny Cash.
100%.
But that's true.
Yeah. Just one of those where you probably should have just called it a day and stopped doing live shows.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, tragically, yeah. I think he like, I mean, he was in his 70s, I think, when I saw him. I mean,
Wow.
maybe late 60s, maybe late 60s, but I mean, he was pushing 70. And, like when I saw him, it was still a good show. I mean, he was kind of leaning on his band at that point, as far as like, the music and everything. And I saw him, I mean, weirdly enough, I mean, they actually played at like the Performing Arts Center, the auditorium of my high school. Like for whatever reason, when I was in high school, they rebuilt the auditorium as like this place where people like acting companies could come and put on like decent plays and whatnot. It's like just this weird anomaly that like they built in my high school. Like it was like pretty nice. And so every now and again, like our musicians would get booked there. And it was one of those scenarios where like I'd like found out about Johnny Cash. I mean, mostly through I don't know, U2. Like they did this song. You know that song I'm talking about? It's called The Wanderer. It's like the last song on their album Zooropa. But
is it the old one from the 50s? The Wanderer?
No. It's just this U2 song that like for whatever reason they were Johnny Cash fans and they had him come in. This is like 93. And they had him come in and sing on it. And it kind of like helped like, bring in, like help like kind of like reestablish his career and everything. And then like those Rick Rubin albums came out like almost immediately after that. Okay. But I'd like caught wind of Johnny Cash from that like U2 song because I was like at the time like a YouTube dweeb and everything. But so I'd caught wind of Johnny Cash, and then he just ended up like my junior year of high school, like going there, like performing at like getting booked there. And so I went and saw him with like my parents, and it was pretty fucking awesome, man. I will admit.
So it was before, like, kind of in that time period where he was putting out those first Rick Rubin ones, then, right?
Yeah, exactly. So like this, he was touring. It was off the second one, like the second. I think it was called like Unchained.
Yeah.
American Recordings 2, Unchained. It's the one with the Soundgarden cover.
Yeah. Fuck. Which one is that? Hold on one sec. See, this is the good thing about Spotify, right? You can just pull this stuff up. People talk shit on it, but I love Spotify. Although their algorithm does suck because I've had playlists that just play the same shit over and over again. Solitary Man was the first. Well, no. Oh yeah, American Recordings was 94. Unchained was 96.
Yeah, 96.
And then, Solitary Man. Solitary Man is like the most consistently good one, I think.
Yeah, I think that's my favorite too.
Yeah, and then just The Man Comes Around. That one's just sad.
Oh wait, hold on. Is The Man Comes Around? Is that the third one or is that the fourth one? I'm trying to remember.
I think it's the fourth one. Jesus Christ, he has so many fucking albums. It's 4.
4. Okay. 4. Yeah. So the Solitary Man. Yeah, that's my favorite. It's got like the Nick Cave cover on there. Mercy Seat.
Oh yeah, Mercy Seat, and then you have like a lot. Tom Petty does a lot of this.
Oh yeah. Was it I Won't Back Down?
Yeah, I Won't Back Down. I See a Darkness.
I See a Darkness. That's cool. Have you heard the original of that? Flying Prince Billy.
No.
Oh, it's rad. You should check it out. But the guy who sings that, his name's Will Oldham, but he performs underneath the name of Blind Prince Billy.
Okay,
He
yeah.
sings backup on that song on the Johnny Cash version.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's God, what else was there? Oh, Field of Diamonds, I See a Darkness. Yeah, Solitary Man. I heard Mark Maron did a podcast with Rick Rubin, and he said he got a ton of backlash for doing those albums because they
Really?
were viewed. Yeah, everyone said that he was just exploiting a sick old man.
Hmm. Yeah,
And
I don't.
I get towards the end, but like, dude, Hurt still is fucking a super insanely powerful song. It's nuts.
Yeah.
So I think we all watched that video one night when you were living
Oh yeah.
and it just bummed everybody out. Everybody was like,
Yeah.
all right, well, I guess we'll call it.
Cool. Yeah.
So,
Holy shit. Yeah.
but yeah, no, Johnny Cash. I learned about him just through like always hearing like Ring of Fire around, and then obviously like more through Social Distortion and stuff too. You learn.
Right.
But yeah, no, he's the shit, man. Another guy that I was, we mentioned we drove cross country together, and
Oh yeah.
from New Jersey.
Best of times.
It was, dude. That was a pretty fun trip.
Mostly the best though.
Huh?
Mostly the best.
Yeah, it was great. It was the best. But we dropped you off in Portland, and then Scott and I came down to drop me off in Oakland, I think.
Yeah.
But along that way, you really turned me on to Bruce Springsteen on that trip.
Oh, okay. The Boss.
Yeah, because I think I had maybe like, greatest hits. I think I bought that in high school. But then you're like, nah, dude, like you gotta listen to Nebraska. And we listened to Nebraska in Nebraska when we drove through it.
Hell yeah.
But I just remember Scott, who grew up in New Jersey, was like, fuck Bruce Springsteen. I don't listen to Bruce Springsteen right now. And I think we listened to all of that one, which is a great album, dude. Nebraska is, it's insane how good that album is. And then I think we listened to like his live album, like the 2-disc live album. And from there, I've just been like, I don't like all of his stuff. And I get why people don't like Bruce Springsteen.
Yeah.
There is kind of like a weird, not weirdness, but it's like, I get it if people don't like Bruce Springsteen. But dude, have you seen the Netflix thing that he did?
No, that it's like basically just him on stage with the guitar, right? No, I haven't seen that.
It's so good. It's so good. And he was doing them in New York too. These little shadow box theaters with like 1,000 people in them. And I read a review where somebody was like, I've seen 1,000 shows and that was the greatest show I've ever seen in my life.
Wow.
So, but yeah, dude, you definitely turned me on to the Boss. So.
What better way, man? Hauling ass through Jersey.
Yeah.
On the open road.
In a Jetta. But yeah, I remember one like conversation we had on that trip was like, all right, greatest American rock and roll bands.
I actually, Steve, that's so funny. I was thinking about that conversation recently. And remember my pick?
CCR?
Greatest American rock band?
Was it CCR?
The Dead.
Oh, dude. I'm in. I'm all in on the Dead right now. That's awesome.
I remember there was some pushback from Scott. He wasn't so convinced about that one.
Dude, no, I've been forcing the Dead. So I have a group thread text with Rusty, Scott, and Chris Holder. And one night I was like, if you guys have not checked out the Grateful Dead yet, you are tripping super hard. Like they're probably, in my opinion, the most underrated American band. Just because they have such a bad rap because of their
yeah.
But
yeah, it's that Deadhead vibe, man.
Oh,
turns
dude.
people off.
I watched they have a documentary. It's like a 6-parter, and it's perfect because each episode's like 45 minutes to an hour. And it's a long, strange trip. It came out in 2017. And that was, to me, like, I randomly put them on Spotify one day just because my neighbor's really into them. And I was like, oh, I get it. I get this. And then I heard a interview with John Mayer, who plays with them. And he was explaining it. And he's like, dude, this music does not make sense. It shouldn't work, but it does. And then I watched some stuff with him and I was like, okay, I take it all back. I take back all my uneducated trash talking on the Grateful Dead. They are amazing.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, I've actually seen that John Mayer version of the Dead, man.
oh, you have?
A couple years ago, yeah.
Oh, wow.
They were performing in like Queens, basically, at their the stadium, like the Mets play games.
Mm-hmm.
But I saw him. Yeah, it was with John Mayer, and at first you're kind of tripped out because you're like, oh fuck, I'm watching John Mayer.
Yeah.
But it's pretty good. I mean, I think weirdly enough, I think that whole community has accepted him. I think there's like some skepticism when the Dead and Company started touring with him, like John Mayer, like what the fuck,
Yeah.
But I think they've come around, like he is a pretty decent guitar player, despite like what you think of his music and everything.
Yeah, I don't know any of his hits other than that Bodies of Wonderland.
Oh hell yeah.
Which is kind of that's a weird title for a song. But yeah, I don't remember that being your pick though, but that's a pretty solid one. But back then, like I was just musically, I think I was still in my like music Nazi phase too. So, but yeah, I do remember like CCR made the list, Bruce Springsteen, Johnny Cash, and then I don't remember. Those are like the only three that stood out in my mind. So
yeah, it's what you talk about when you're on the road for 5 days, over 100 hours.
Dude, that was such a rad trip. I wish we could have taken like more time, but I was telling somebody somehow we started talking about Pizza Hut with somebody, and I was like, oh, in Lincoln, Nebraska, there's actually a Pizza Hut that you can go into still, or there was 12 years ago, and we had pizza. So I do remember Chicago being the coldest I'd ever been.
Oh yeah, yep, yeah. I think it was it was in like the tens,
Yeah.
Like, it was like 13 or 14 degrees.
Yeah, and then there was a like a 10% wind chill factor or something like that. I went outside to call my parents, and I was just like, I'm in Chicago, I'm alive, and I have to go back inside. So, but no, man, that was such a fun trip, and that was probably one of the funner trips I've ever done in my life. Yeah, I went to Europe. I've been like all over the United States, but that one it was just such a rad thing to be in the middle of nowhere.
Hell yeah!
Like, well, we're just gonna see what happens,
Yeah.
So
nothing but the open road.
Yeah. Have you been doing any music, or was that just kind of a LA thing?
Yeah, I guess I don't know. It was an LA thing. Like I did. I played with some people in Portland, but nothing significant. I think it was just. I mean, I'll play music here and there, but as far as like starting a band or doing something organized like that, I don't know. It's just so. I mean, it was like I would say with the bands I was able to play in, like the Lemonades and Shoots and Martyrs, like it's like the most fun, like the best times. But I think like doing it now, it's just kind of draining emotionally as far as like having to like organize the band, like put the songs together, everything, play shows, and just with all the dynamics like related with that and everything. But as far as just playing music, yeah, I still do that every now and again.
Okay.
Every now and again, you get the inkling to be like, oh, it'd be so sick to play in a band right now, but it's just the reality of it kind of sets in. And...
Yeah, it's like I still have a drum set. I'm sitting right next to it, but yeah, it's not something like I actively want to really do anymore. It just, like you said, it's just a drain after a while, and then I don't know. But I was gonna find it, but it's 3,000 degrees in Sacramento. I still have the Tender Loving Empire compilation.
Oh yeah,
like they had the Lemonade from the Lemonade show. The artwork was all the
yeah.
That was I was gonna find it, but I didn't want to go into the garage and dig through a shitload of CDs. So
yeah, avoid that.
What's that?
Avoid that.
Yeah, dude. It's like I said, man, it's pretty rough here. But so how long have you been in New York?
Man, it's been over 8 years now.
Oh wow, really?
Yeah, it's been a while. It's been a minute.
Yeah. If you can make it in New York, you can make it anywhere, man.
That's what they tell me.
Yeah. So yeah, New York's it's a rad place. My wife and I, we were like, oh, where should we go for like our 40th birthdays? And I was like, we should go to New York. And then we'll probably not be able to go to New York now. But Yeah, no, it's a rad place. It's super cool. I love it a lot.
Definitely hit if you guys come out, hit me up.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, it'll be like 2 years from now. So hopefully by then,
Yeah,
COVID's under control by
yeah.
then.
Knock on wood.
Yeah, yeah, dude. I think it will be.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe I'm naive. Maybe I don't know, but
Because I think like before that, aforementioned road trip started. I think we spent like a day or two in New York hanging out. Like, because I remember going to some club, and I think like maybe you or Scott knew about it, but it was like Aesop Rock's DJ, the
oh
Blockhead,
oh yeah, okay.
and
That sounds
Aesop Rock was there. Like we walk in and we're like, oh, maybe Aesop Rock will be there, and boom, there he was in the corner.
man, that okay. I completely forgot about that, but that sounds about right. Man, yeah, I don't even know if I could listen to Aesop Rock anymore.
Oh yeah, not down for that. Not down for it.
No, I would, but it was hard. That whole like their whole like club, not club, but like their crew was really hard to listen to after a while.
Yeah.
But good shit. But okay, yeah, that sounds about right. Okay, I remember that now, I think.
Because now, like, I have no idea where we were in New York. Like, I moved there. It's just this, I don't know, like this huge mass. That's what New York was, and it's
Yeah.
just like, oh, we took a taxi. All of a sudden, we're at this club, but like I have no idea where that was. But
Yeah.
I'm kind of curious. Like, I wonder, just having lived here and become familiar with New York, like I'm really curious where that was.
Yeah, you
But
might be able to look it up. Like there might be some
yeah,
sort of like
I'll just do
like
that.
yeah, but I don't know. But yeah, there was one time, I don't know if you were there or if it was where I went with Chris Holder, but we went to a bar and there was werewolves everywhere.
What?
Yeah. I've been meaning to talk,
Werewolves?
I've been meaning to talk to Scott about it because it's one of those memories that like I forget about, and then all of a sudden it pops in my head where I'm like, there was just like these like staged werewolves all over the place.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
You know what I
All
mean?
right.
And like they
Yeah.
had cages and yeah, it was so weird. I just remember like we were walking down a cobblestone street somewhere in New
Huh.
York, and then which I guess are kind of like not all over the place, but they might be like in a specific neighborhood or area.
Yeah, that must have been like Lower Manhattan. That was probably like Tribeca or Soho, because that's where like a lot of those streets are. So
Okay.
yeah, that
And
makes sense.
yeah, and then like I think it was on a corner, and we walk in, and we're like, "Oh, this place is ridiculous. We have to hang out here." And just there was like in like the built-in cupboards and stuff like that. There was just these staged werewolves, and like they had these cages hanging. Next time I talk to Scott, I gotta ask him about that and see if he remembers it. But yeah. So
I thought you meant like there were some furries or something
oh
hanging.
no, that would have been a whole nother situation, I think. So, but yeah, I don't know where. I just wish I remember where that was. But yeah, no, New York's a great place, man. I've been there like probably 3 or 4 times, and each time it's just
Yeah.
been amazing. So
Yeah. Yeah.
just a really cool spot. So do you plan on coming back out to California at all, or
Yeah, definitely. I mean, definitely. Like at some point in the near. Do you mean like long term, or do you just like a
just
visit? Or
yeah, just visit, or even
oh
I
yeah,
mean, there's really
absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah. So like I don't know, like I should mention this, but like yeah, I'm actually getting married.
Oh, nice, man! Congratulations.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, just because of COVID, like we had to basically like scrap all our wedding plans, and we're just gonna get married in Philadelphia, where my fiance, her family's from. But the idea now, since we basically just had to like scrap our broader plans, is just to maybe like after COVID's died down, take a trip out to California, where my parents are from. They live in San Diego, and maybe just try to like link up with some folks who are in California who would be willing to like come down just for like kind of like an anniversary, like hangout sort of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
that's my wife's sister is getting married, and they were gonna do the wedding thing too, but now with everything shutting down, they're like, we're just gonna go to the coast and find a little town with a courthouse and do it there.
hell yeah.
So,
Yeah. When were they supposed to get married?
I don't think they really had like a set date. They were gonna
Uh-huh.
shoot for sometime next year.
Oh, got it.
Just with like careers and COVID and everything, they're like, let's just do it now.
Yeah. I mean, Yeah, that's kind of like we came to a similar conclusion because, like, the option was we just postpone it a year,
Hmm.
but because we like so much work had already gone into the wedding plans, and then we had to scrap them. We were just like, let's just do it. Let's get married. Let's make it legal, and then we'll just have like a really cool ceremony with like our friends,
Yeah.
afterwards. So
Yeah, that's pretty much what we did, man. We had like a it wasn't like a huge crazy wedding, but it was like 100 people, which is pretty big, but we did it super super cheap. It was like just
yeah,
it wasn't really expensive at all, and that's what they should be, man. Like
yeah, I agree.
like when you go to like these huge extravagant like church weddings, you're just like,
Yeah,
what a waste of money. You know?
yeah, no, I agree. I think a lot of the reasons why people get wrapped up with those huge ceremonies is that they're just trying to like appease certain family members.
Oh yeah,
You
100%.
know, but, it's more for other people
Yeah.
as opposed to what you might want to do. I mean, at least I've found, but I think I like the method you went with, Steve. As far as doing something like you and your wife wanted to do, like that's really cool.
Yeah. I do remember my mom was like, "Hey, can I invite this person?" I was like, "No."
Shut her down.
Yeah. No, if there's room, can this person come? I was like, "No.
No.
No. No, that person was kind of a bitch last time I saw her. I don't want her." So, yeah, no, it's yeah, smaller the better. I think that's kind of with anything too. Like the bigger shit gets, the more it kind of loses its intimacy. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So, like,
absolutely.
even just going to see shows. I mean, I don't know how regularly you were seeing shows out there in New York, but um, just seeing like the smaller, I mean, Sacramento has like had a really awesome music scene where, we have like where the Kings play, which is an arena, but then we also have, your 300 seaters, your 1,200 seaters. So,
Yeah.
just there's just a lot of disconnect the bigger shit gets too. So, but
Yeah, I mean, speaking of Sacramento bands,
hmm?
I've been listening to some Deftones.
Oh, you have?
Yeah.
Dude, so that's weird. I went through like a little Deftones phase maybe like a month or two ago.
Yeah.
What
Well,
what do you think about them?
yeah, actually, I was wanting to spring this on you. Do you think they're technically considered a new metal band? Would you include them with like new metal, like Korn or Limp Bizkit or Taproot or whatever, Mudvayne or all those bullshit groups?
I think they're a band that came out. They were really kind of before those bands. They came out like in 93ish, 94, I think.
Yeah.
Somewhere in there, maybe like 96. It's funny because I actually just listened to a podcast with the lead singer. He was on
Chino?
yeah. So, and I've seen those guys around Sacramento. I've seen them a couple
Oh
times.
yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, they actually have a festival, their own like music festival
Yeah,
in
in San
San
Diego.
Diego.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh,
I was on the brink of going because like the lineup for this last year, in the fall was pretty awesome. Like,
was it?
Hum? Do you remember that band
Oh,
Hum?
yeah, yeah.
They played.
They have a
Gabe,
song about Mars, right?
yes, you got it.
Yeah.
And then JPEG Mafia, this like weird like rapper who's been around for like the last 5 or 6 years. He was playing, but the lineup was like so random, but like pretty good. Like quality seemed to be like the main through line for all the acts and everything. But yeah, no, I've been listening to Around the Fur, and then it's been 20 years since White Pony came out, so
that's kind of fucked up because I remember when that album came out.
yeah.
But yeah, I don't know, man, because they're a weird band. Like I said, I went back and I listened to them, and there's a lot of stuff that's kind of hard to listen to, but then they have like really kind of like pretty songs too.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Or like more like chill music. Like I think a lot of their newer stuff is like a little bit more mellow. But I think they just kind of came out right around when that genre started blowing up,
Yeah.
and they kind of got lumped into it, and probably rightfully so. But I think they also kind of evolved out of that, where a band like Korn just kind of was like, hey, here's where we're at. Like
trying to keep the dreadlocks going. And
dude, I got to watch Korn from the stage about
oh, really?
3 or 4 years ago.
Oh my God.
Yeah, we my brother-in-law knows a guy that knows a few of the members in the band.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, and out here,
Monkey?
no,
Head?
the bass player.
Baseball fieldy?
Yeah, so in Sacramento we have the Aftershock Festival. It's 2 days, and it's like just heavy music, but it's
Yeah.
I think it's quality. You know, it's not like not anything against Insane Clown Posse, but it's like, you know, it's quality bands for the most part. And
Yeah.
so Korn headlined one year, and so my brother-in-law's like, hey, my buddy Ron's coming up. He can probably at least get us tickets into the show. And I'm like, I'm down for a free show. Like, I don't care. And the free tickets turned into VIP passes, which you can
Wow.
just buy those. They just give you like your own entrance, and you don't have to. There's a lot of it's just easier for a VIP. But then the VIP turned into all access passes.
Wow.
Dude, we were drinking beer with the bass player from Korn Field on his
Yeah.
bus. On
Oh
his
my
bus. And then yeah, I guess it's a 3-night thing. Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So Korn did Saturday night. Tool did Friday night. Korn did Saturday. I don't know who did Sunday. We didn't stay for Sunday. But dude, we got to watch like Slayer from the front of the stage, like standing.
That's pretty ill.
Dude, it was nuts how like loud Slayer is live. And then like we got to watch Ghost from the side of the stage.
Ghost. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, those guys are rad. That may have been the last live show I saw before everything shut down, I think.
Because they're all in like those costumes, right?
Yeah, and they're super good live. They put on a great show.
Yeah.
But yeah, just being like, it was just so ridiculous because you're like, we're in the backstage area, it's all outside, and then we're just kind of like hanging out, and you're like, oh, this is Korn. This is they're all here, like, and they're all like engaging with everybody, and then they kind of do like their band huddle, and they're like, all right, we're going to the stage, and we're just like, we're going to the stage, and they brought everyone in the backstage area, walked on stage with Korn.
Wow.
Dude, it was fucking crazy. And then you're just standing there and like seeing it from that perspective, like looking out, it's insane. It's so crazy.
Yeah, just like taking it in, like the audience that's right in front of you, kind of almost viewing it from the band's perspective, which they're seeing on a nightly basis and everything.
Yeah. And then it officially ruined concerts for me. Like, I can't go there. I think like 2 days later, we went and saw the Pixies. And I was like, I got to stand out here with these normal people. Like, where's my backstage passes, Frank Black?
Yeah. These fucking rubes.
Yeah.
Cheap seats.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I've had that.
How was Korn though? Like, how was it?
I mean, it was
Korn.
It was pretty much what you expect. Really hard to like hear any of the music because it was just so loud.
Oh,
but
hilarious.
But
so
yeah.
good.
But yeah, going back to Deftones, I don't know, whatever. They're not really my thing, you know. And what's funny is they're not really that big here in Sacramento. You think for like Sacramento's a huge town, but it's also like pretty close knit, and people that like have lived there their whole lives.
Yeah.
And yeah, you'd think that. I was kind of thinking about this when I was listening to them. I was like, you know, I think they're I guess I've never really noticed that there's not a lot of like Deftones stuff.
No one's claiming them.
I don't know. I mean, they do. They've put on like random surprise shows here a couple times, but yeah, I don't know. I've seen them like twice, and I don't know. They're just not really my thing.
Yeah, I get you.
I guess so. How did you kind of stumble back into them?
I don't know. It's just like one of those. I think it might have been like a midlife nostalgia kind of thing, and like, oh, I remember Around the Fur being not bad. So then I like put it on, like, yeah, you know, I like this. It's good. And I think just I remember like hearing about some of Chino's like influences, like being into the Smiths and Depeche Mode. I'm like, you know, that's kind of cool. Like, I should give him a second chance. And also some of the bands, I think some of the other Sacramento bands that he was playing with, I think when he was in Deftones that he would like play shows with, like did you ever hear of Far by any chance? Yeah, Far or like Will Haven, like those groups. It's like, yeah, those I like those bands. Maybe I'll reconsider the Deftones. It'll be like my '90s band revisit, And so yeah, I just listened around the Fur and White Pony, and also, I mean, yeah, just that kind of era of music, new metal. It's just so funny to me. So just listening to a band that kind of like, I guess, was sort of in associated with that genre, it's kind of funny, I guess.
Yeah, you're not going full Limp Bizkit. You're just kind of sitting on the fringes. You're like, well, at least the Deftones musically are pretty solid. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
don't go full Limp Bizkit.
Go full Limp Bizkit or Kid Rock.
Yeah.
Dude, I don't give a shit. That first Kid Rock album, Devil Without a Cause,
yeah,
still holds up.
Yeah,
some of the most ridiculous like rap lyrics on it ever. It's a great album. I don't give a shit. I listen to it like once every like 2 years. It's solid.
Ba with a ba.
Ba with the ba. Bull God.
Yeah, Bull God.
It's funny. Remember Travis?
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah, he posted a review that he got on Yelp for bartending because I guess he kicked the dude out after he was just too drunk, and the guy's review is like, "Who's this guy think he is? The beer god?" And I was gonna try and figure out how to like incorporate the Bull God from Kid Rock into like the beer god with Travis, but then I got sidetracked with laundry. But
it happens.
It does, yeah. So, but yeah, no, that was definitely. I mean, I went to a couple of Ozfests, and those were pretty. Those are like the definition. Those are the definition of new metal, man.
Oh yeah.
Like, who we see? I think Rusty got really into System of a Down for a while.
Dude, I remember that because I think it was when I was like crashing with you guys when you lived in like West Covina and that just that apartment like that apartment complex out there.
Dude, so that apartment complex, like we're going pretty inside baseball for anybody that's actually still listening, but that apartment complex we just left.
Right.
Like we left. Rusty spray painted sorry about the mess on the fridge. And dude, that place was fucking disgusting. And then like probably like 5 years later, I just get a call, maybe like 3 to 5 years later, I just get a call from him and he's like, dude, it caught up with us. And I'm like,
really?
What caught up with us? Like, they find the body? Like, what's going on? And he's like, no, that apartment complex that we lived in called my mom and we actually owed money. Like our entire security deposit plus like $600.
Oh man.
And I think at that point, Scott was like, I'm not fucking paying that money. And, and then Ben said the same thing. He's
Benny
like,
boy.
no. Yeah. And then I think Rusty's mom just paid it up front. She was like, okay,
really?
Now you guys owe me $600.
Wow.
And so I had to cut her. I think him and I just split it. It was like $300 each. And we're like, let's just take care of it. Let's not drag anybody else into it. Let's just handle this. But yeah, dude, I remember we watched a lot of Sopranos in that house or that apartment. So yeah, everyone had their own couch. And then we all just rip through Sopranos VHSs or DVDs just nonstop. So, but yeah, that's a show that during quarantine I've rewatched a few times.
So. Yeah, my fiance, she's from Jersey originally, and I would say like maybe a couple of years back, she started watching Sopranos because she'd never seen it and everything. So like I would catch episodes here and there, but. It holds up, I would say. Although
100%, like
it's kind of funny now. It's like a period piece, almost like watching it.
Yeah, but like I was watching. I mean, I've probably watched the whole series maybe like 3 times, 4 times all the way through, and like short of the cell phones, everything else is still relevant and it still holds up. And it's but yeah, it really is kind of a period piece when you look at it and think about it. But yeah, the kids that were on the AJ and Meadow, they have their own podcast and they've never watched it.
Really?
Yeah, they've never watched episodes of it. So
that's interesting.
Yeah, no, it's definitely a good one. So
I'm all about season 5, man. That might be my favorite.
season 5. So they only did 6, right?
I think they cut 6 instead of doing like one full length season. They split in half, so it's
That's
like
right.
6 is smaller, but I think there is like a 7th, but it's like less episodes.
Yeah, they took
But
like a year off or some shit like
yeah,
that.
exactly. Yep. But it's the one with Steve Buscemi where he's
Oh yeah,
like,
yeah. Tony.
and when he gets out of jail and he's in the suit that he was, like he went in to
Mhm.
like prison in, and it's like this 80s like Miami Vice, like, like retro,
Yeah.
just like totally tacky suit, and he's back, and that's what he's wearing. That's the last thing he had. So good.
Yeah, is that the one where Tony gets shot too?
God, I want to say that's 6. I think that might be 6
Is it?
when Junior
Yeah, Junior shoots him.
plugs him. Spoilers.
Yeah, spoiler alert for anybody watching. Yeah, I was watching. I was just watching like a random episode from season 6, and it was the one where Johnny Sacks dies. And I think at some point, I think it is season 6 where he gets shot, because they kind of drag it out. Maybe the first part of season 6 is when he gets shot, and then
Yeah.
the second part is like after he's out, and then it ends. So,
Yeah, that sounds right.
but no, dude, that show, yeah, that's probably my favorite show of all time.
Hell yeah.
And then like Mad Men, I think underneath that. But dude, Mad Men almost turned me into an alcoholic watching that show. Fuck, you ever watch it?
Oh yeah, I've seen it. Yeah, no, I'm a fan, definitely.
Dude, I love that show. But that's not like Sopranos. I can just turn on any episode and be like, oh, I know what's going on. With Mad Men, I'm just like, I don't wait. What happened? Where are we at? Oh, nothing's happened. Nothing's happened.
Yeah.
so, God, I forgot what I was gonna say. I had notes too. I did some research and I forgot. But so
Lay it on me.
I think we've covered it, man. We kind of ripped
All
through
right.
it. I was gonna be like, I don't know. I always kind of looked at you like an OG hipster, but I don't think that's an accurate depiction or a title.
Wait, sorry. Like it is accurate or it's not accurate?
No, it's not.
Oh yeah.
I don't know why, because that was one of my notes. I was like, is he the OG hipster? But no, I don't think so. But so you know what I did find the other day? I've got a bad habit. My wife makes fun of me all the time for this. I just have like T-shirts from high school still, and like I have all my Green Day shirts from high school, like all these old punk shirts. And I found the Catheter shirt from
my God.
we played with them.
Holy smokes.
Yeah.
That's right. That's another trip down memory lane. That show played where your band, Animal Unit, Lemonades, my band.
Yeah.
And then Waddy's band,
Bleeding Kansas.
Yeah,
dude. And so it's funny, like I just ran like a few years ago. I was like, what the fuck does Bleeding Kansas? I think I just Googled them to see like if they were still around or whatever, or like to see what they're up to. And I didn't realize what the name Bleeding Kansas means.
Oh yeah.
Which is like, it was pretty deep and like
Civil
a really
War.
Yeah, it was really interesting. I was like, wow, that's actually kind of like props to them. That's a pretty rad name.
Yeah, definitely.
But
John Brown reference to that. Yeah.
Yeah. But what was I gonna say? Yeah, that Catheter show.
Mayhem.
Dude, it was nuts. And it was at a coffee shop.
Yeah. I'm blanking on the name of it. I want to say it was called like Smart Grinds or
Smart
Grounds.
City Grinds.
Yeah, Smart City Grinds. Yeah.
Which is such a weird name. Like, where does Smart City come from?
Yeah. Who lives there?
Just because you're in a college town, it's a smart city? Like,
yeah.
I mean,
Here's my IQ.
Yeah. So, but yeah, no, that was a crazy show, man. It didn't get cut short, but I think they got cut off a couple times, right?
Like we couldn't perform our set. I mean, what's hilarious is that because I think Rusty had booked it, and here's what happened. He had like told the Catheters that they, we're gonna book this show at Smart City Grinds, and he didn't, because remember like in the past we had played in the basement. Like, you remember they had a basement, and so like we'd play there and no problems. We could do whatever we wanted to down there and everything. And I think for whatever reason he like didn't reach out to the owners until maybe like a week before the show.
Sounds about right.
And like they had booked like a Bible study. in the basement. But they were still cool enough. Like, yeah, you can play upstairs. Just we don't want any like swear. We don't want any like our restrictions are no swears, no nothing. All like positive lyrics, blah blah blah. So like Lemonades, we only played like I think 4 songs, and like and then yeah, I don't know. I think there was like an issue with every band for some reason. Like they didn't like any of the groups that
Yeah,
performed.
like I have pictures of all of those shows.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm assuming Animal Unit was probably just way too loud. You guys probably had like really just controversial lyrics. And then I do remember the Catheters thing was that they have one of their lyrics is like I smell like shit, and he says it over and or I feel like shit or something like that.
Yeah.
And he says it. I think the song ends with him just saying it over and over again.
Yeah.
And he was doing it and like, nope, sorry guys, can't, gotta stop. But no, those guys were cool as hell too. They stayed at M202, Rusty's apartment,
Yeah.
like a weekend or whatever.
Right. Yeah, they were cool. But no, I remember like the lead singer was just wasted and just like climbing up on like the speakers, and it was just like an amazing show. But I think like the roadie, the guy that was with him, just kind of like helping set up the gear, like the dude was like, he said like that was the best time I've ever seen him.
Wow. That guy, that guy was cool. I remember because he had a LAMF shirt. And I remember you guys were
Johnny Thunders.
Yeah. I remember you guys were talking about that. And that's when I was like, oh, okay, I've heard of Johnny Thunders. I know who that is. And then I'll never forget, we were in Rusty and Ben's bedroom after the show, taking bong loads. And Scott walks in, and I'll never forget, it was the funniest shit.
Oh, yeah.
Scott walks in, and someone just goes, what's your favorite Nirvana album? And Scott just goes, fucking A, and just turns around and walks out. Like the typical stoner question. But I think they came down like one more time after that.
Yeah.
I don't know. But no, that was fun. Those were fun times, man. Those were like pretty wild times too, because I remember like there was another coffee shop show that we played where I think you guys did something kind of wild. I can't remember what it is off the top of my head, but then we played in our underwear or our boxers or
something. Yeah, that was, I remember that. That was yeah, actually I booked that. It was Costanza's coffee. It was the Fuck the Bucks.
That's what it was. Fuck the Bucks. Yep, that's what. Yeah, I have all those. I've got pictures, all that shit, and then I have like flyers and stuff somewhere too.
Yeah.
So it'd be cool to put all that stuff together and kind of send it out there.
Oh yeah.
But
maybe an oral history.
An oral history of the Azusa music scene in 2002.
Yeah.
I remember we practiced. I don't know if you guys practiced there too, but we practiced across the street at some like theater place.
Yeah.
Did you guys practice there too?
I'm trying to remember. I think we did. No, because we only had like, I think before we played, like we only had like 2 practices, and I mean we worked some things out in the living room of like Josh Isay, and I think I'm trying to remember. I think he was still roommates with like Chris Holder and like Matt Degnan.
Yeah.
But we worked it out, I think, in the living room, and then we booked, I think it was in Covina. There was like a rehearsal space, and we just booked some time there, and that's where we were able to like play as a full band.
Yeah, I remember we had like this old theater, and they had extra rooms, and we were able to practice upstairs, but we found their booze stash.
The what?
Their booze, like they had all their alcohol up there.
Yeah.
So we would just, after practice, we just each take a couple bottles, and then we finally got busted for it because they would put on shows, like plays would come in. Finally, they'd be like, "Hey, have you guys been taking all the booze?" And we're just like, "No, why would we do that?
Who would do that?
No, that's terrible. That's terrible." So, yeah, I think that was probably musically the funnest time for me.
Hell yeah. No, I mean, honestly, yeah, no, that was just a fun time, man.
Yeah.
Just in general, like, yeah, absolutely. Like playing with the Lemonades, like it was like the most fun.
Yeah.
Most
fun. I still have the DOB tape or the CD, which, man, in a post Me Too world, that shit is not chill at all. Yeah. I was thinking about making everybody copies and sending them out to them somehow. But then I was like, man, I don't know I don't know if some people want to hear
Yeah.
what's going on some of this stuff.
Yeah.
But but yeah, no, it
Just
was a super fun time, and
just do the Beastie Boys thing, just like rewrite all the lyrics and like I don't know if you remember that, like later on, like when they got woke in like the late 90s, like
they changed all the lyrics up.
they did change some of the lyrics.
Oh, really?
On certain tracks so they could play them live and everything.
Huh. I saw them on the Five Boroughs tour in San Francisco, and probably easily the top like 3 best shows I've ever seen in my life. But I was really surprised because they did play a lot of stuff off License to Ill.
Huh.
They played like all the hits off License to Ill, and probably because they knew that Five Boroughs sucked. But,
someone finally told them.
Yeah, they're like, "Hey guys, I know you're on this tour, but this album's pretty fucking whack. Not very good. The artwork's cool, but
guys, can we sit down for a minute?
Yeah, yeah.
I have something to tell you.
Yeah,
come here.
Mike D, you want to come over here? We got
Adams.
Michael, you want to come over here? No. Mixmaster Mike has something he'd like to tell you.
Yeah.
Mario C's here. He's gonna.
Yeah, Mario C. DJ Hurricane, would you like to speak up?
Bismarcky, you want to chime in on this one?
Yeah. What's your take?
Yeah. Yeah, no, dude, that was an incredible show, but I kind of chalk like I mean, I love the Beastie Boys, but they're kind of like Bruce Springsteen too. Where like I get where people don't like them after a while too. Like,
right?
They're annoying geniuses.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I love Paul's Boutique.
Oh yeah, that album's nuts. Yeah, that's super good. So, but all right, man. Well, it's getting to be about almost dinner time here. So, yeah, man.
I have one question for you.
Yeah,
Steve.
what's up, man?
Do you still have my Johnny Cash Love God Murder box set?
Yeah, I do. Yeah. Oh, I forgot that I even had that still. But yeah, I've never gotten rid of a CD in my life. It's terrible. It's a sickness. You want it back?
No, it's all good.
I forgot that was yours, man. How did I end up with that?
I think you borrowed it, and then like I think it was one of those things where I asked you about it a few times, like, hey Steve. Yep. Can I get my Love God Murder box set back? Like, oh sure. Nuss, no problem. Yeah. I think the last time was like before you moved away. No. It's hilarious.
Shit, man, my bad.
No worries. I thought it'd be fun to bring it up. I don't even care. I mean,
I have it. I can mail it to you if you want.
Whatever. No, enjoy it.
Spotify.
Hand it to the kids.
Yeah, that's a good one. I just remember that like the Murder one was the only good album on there.
Yeah, Murder's the only good one.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't want to hear hymns. I don't want to hear any of that bullshit. Yeah, you got a couple of good ones on the Love one, but whatever.
Dude, if I want to hear God, I go to church.
Yeah.
Man. I don't need this.
If I want to hear about God, I talk to my mom, bro.
I listen to my mom.
Yeah. So, but all right, man. Well, hey, thanks again for taking the time, Nuss. I really,
man, it was fun, Steve. Fun catching up. And
yeah. So, where can everybody check out Rival House at?
www.revivalhousepress.com.
Okay. You guys have a Facebook or Instagram or?
Yeah, we do. We have Instagram, Facebook. You can find all that like just on the website.
Okay. Yeah, and I'll when I put this out probably Monday, I'll put all that stuff. I'll tag it all and all that.
Oh,
stuff.
Cool. Thank you.
Yeah, man. So
thanks,
cool, Nuss. Yeah, let's do it again. Cool. Let's
yeah.
I'm just gonna keep going. Fuck it. There was talk of doing a Zoom with like the whole crew. I think at one point.
Oh my god, that'd be out of control. That'd be too much.
We did a couple of them, and they turned into virtual parties. Everyone just got fucked up. It was crazy. And then there was like 9 people on one of them, and then it just I hosted one and I just stopped it. I got too wasted. I just stopped the meeting. And then I talked to Guido the other day.
Oh wow.
There's a child that just ran through. Yeah, I talked to Guido the other day. He just randomly called and texted me. So, hey, Ruby. Ruby. All right, man. I got to go.
All right, Steve.
All right,
thanks, man. Thank you.
Thanks, man.
Fun, dude. It's so much fun. Let's do a part 2 sometime.
For sure. I'll let you know when I post it.
All right, man.
All right.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Nuss. Later.
Bye bye.
Bye, man.